Okay everybody, today we're going to do the video on sanding my 79 F-150 down. We had primed it in a previous video, did all the body work, got it primer, epoxy prime. Today I'm going to show you, we're going to start sanding that epoxy prime down, show you what I use and how I do it. Everybody does it different, you know, all these car shows now use these $500 sanding boards and everything else. This is going to be a driver for somebody. I'm not looking for like I guess say car show quality. I'll use that to be nice. But I want to show you what we started. Basically we did the body work. Used a 2K epoxy prime, but pretty much I'm going to knock it down with a 6-inch DA. The areas I know I put Bondo, like right here, you can see a little bit of auto body filler coming through. I do it with a small block. I will probably use a long board, which is 11.5 inches long on the bottoms of the doors and some of the bigger flat areas. But areas like this, when you're trying to roll an edge, you know, like this, there was just a small ding here. There's some small dings in the hood, but where I know I did the body filler, I'll block out a little bit with this small block. It's just sticky paper that you put on this one. I'll show you back here. This is a Velcro back. This is the 3M's purple paper they have now with a Velcro back, but this is a sander I get from Lowe's. I actually like this probably better. It's kind of a weird material, but it stays flatter longer. The 3M one I got, they tend to curl. I'll do the body work and paint this truck. I may not be back in this garage doing body work again for 6 months, so I don't like when you buy a sander for the money they get for them. You go to use it a year later and it's got a sweep to it because the material shrunk or whatever. Whatever this material is more of a sponge than rubber. When you're doing body filler work, this purple paper works good. The 3M gold, I'll show you. That's the 80, but the 3M part number is 236U Gold Plus. This works real good on sanding Bondo, I found. You know, plastic body filler, whatever you want to call it. This is the 3M blue paper. This is what I'm sanding with today. It's 220 grit blue, but I find this doesn't clog up like the gold does when you're sanding the epoxy prime. So just little things I want to share when I'm doing stuff I'm going to explain. But you'll see the dust. I think you can see the dust on this hood. I'm not shy when I put this epoxy prime on, because this is what you do now. This is what I do now instead of puttying it. I explained in my other video that I used to use a 3M green, what they call spot putty. Anyway, you did body work, you'd prime, skim it, and then you'd wet sand that off. And that's how I did it for years. Was taught how to do this. That's what the product was back in the day. Epoxy primes now have pretty much taken over the market. So, but I just wanted to show you what's going to start on it today, and I'll try to videotape as we go. In the different tools I use, and this video will go all the way to the point where we paint it, I believe. The local napper I have doesn't mix the tech base anymore. They have to get it done from another store, but I'm going to show you what I use for a product. For the money, I think it's I don't think it's the best product, but it's good for the money. So the paint stuff now has gone nuts. What you can spend on a quart of paint now is crazy. The stuff I'm getting to get 2 quarts, the activator, the clear coat, the activator for the clear coat, thinners, and everything else, I'm probably going to have, I'm going to say $500 to $800 in the paint, just to paint this cab. And like I said, that's a product I think's good. It ain't the best, but I don't want to spend $1,500 to $1,800 on paint that I don't think's much better in the long run. I try to stick with a clear that wet sands and buffs nice. Napa is my local store now in my town, so I try to stick with Napa products if I need something in the middle of a project. So, all right, we'll get back to it. I want to show you at this point, we're sanding on this epoxy prime, and I want to show you some of the simple things that we can do to make it a little bit better. Like this indent the Fords have in the 70s. What I found is I've been using a piece of PVC pipe. Same way I did the body work, I just sanded the body filler with the same way, but that's 220 paper. It sticks to the pipe pretty good. but that gives you a chance to roll that, you know, shape. And I also use regular sandpaper, but I use, this is a napper. I don't know if we can see the number, but it's called a soft block that bends to the shape. What I do is I bend it like this, and then I stick the paper to it. It tends to stay to that shape, but then you can run it along inside that body line. And then I use the flat block to get these outer, you know, with the Fords, basically when you paint these, if you want them to look good, you got to make sure these lines are pretty good. This truck here was just dented. Like I said, it was used as a mud truck most of its life. What we call mud trucks up in New Hampshire. I don't know what you got, everybody else. You run them through the woods, run them through the mud. This has had more trees scraped down the side of it. This is probably one of the most dented Fords I've ever redone, but probably one of the best rust-wise that I've redone. It's kind of weird, but when they don't get run through the salt here in New Hampshire and Maine, they last. I basically want to show people you can go to your local Napa store, buy basic products and do this. It's got to the point now where I think a normal guy with a normal paycheck, you can't afford to drop one of these off at a body shop anymore. You got to do this stuff yourself in your own shop or at your house. I just helped one of my neighbors got a newer Camaro. I want to say it's like a 79, 80 Camaro. I helped him get the quarters put on it and 4 pans. Did all the welding, same thing, did the bodywork, got it primer for him. And I think he's going to end up bringing it to Mako to get it. I'm not interested in painting it. I just don't enjoy doing this stuff that much anymore. My wife really doesn't want me doing this. I did it when I was younger. It's an awesome hobby to have. And that's when I enjoy it. I would never want to do this for a living anymore. That and the product is just crazy price. But like I said, my video here will show your average guy to go get the material, what to use. And same thing with me. You'll never see me restore something that I'm expecting to go on a magazine cover. This is going to be an awesome driver for somebody that had one of these back in the day or in high school wanted one. I would probably keep this one if it was a 250, but it's only a 150, and I really want an original F-250 high board. Video as I go. All right, we got that knocked down with 220. I blocked some stuff out. I'm probably gonna do that real heavy one more time with 220 this next coat, after this next coat sprayed. After that, I'll probably go to a 320, and I normally go to a 400 the third time. But I'll just do a quick walk around, show you guys where we're at. You'll see the body filler kind of poking through, but that's the whole idea. This does what the putty used to. But you block this stuff out, and looks pretty good. But I found a couple areas I didn't like, so I fixed them while we had it. I forgot there was a couple little screw holes here for chrome that's not going back on it, so on both sides, so I did that. And I had a couple pits that were near the door handles that were kind of deep, so I used a polyester filler. It's pretty much polyester Bondo, but goes on a lot smooth. It's almost like a putty, I guess you might say. But I just figured I'd do a quick walk around and we'll give it another coat. We probably got to do this 2 more times, maybe 3. We'll see where it's at. I want it to look pretty good. It's getting to the point now where stuff's so pricey to paint with. There's no sense of doing. There's no such thing as a quickie paint job or a cheap paint job anymore. A couple of my friends know I was doing this. You get that phone call like, hey, you interested? And I'm like, I'm really not. Like I said, this is a fun hobby. I don't think I'd want to do it for a living. And the hobby is for me. The Camaro I did a month or so ago, if you look at some of my other YouTube videos, you'll see that in the background of a lot of them. But once that was out of my hair, I was glad to see it gone. There was a lot of welding, unibody, you know, quarter panels, inner fenders. It just, I don't want to do that no more. You don't really know what you're getting until you dig into a car. But it's really getting to the point where you got to be very careful dropping a Mustang, Camaro, or F-150 or half-ton Chevy off to a body shop and letting them have at it, because you may get in over your head. Well, after some primer, I'll take another video. All right, second coat of primer's on. we'll do a quick walk around. Each time you put a coat on, it should start looking better and better. I mean, pretty much all the heavy scratches are out. Now you're just chasing small stuff, and if you find a little divot, what I found a couple spots is this had some areas where it weren't really rotted, but it pitted. Some of the pits were a little heavier than I thought primer would deal with, so like I said, I think I said that before in the video, I used polyester Bondo, or body fill, or whatever you want to call it. I'm old school, so I use the word Bondo. Some people don't like it, but plastic filler. Overall, it's looking better. I think probably 1 or 2 more times, and we'll untape it and clean it up one more time, tape it up to paint. Pretty sure I'll have time to do it. This is a Monday. I'm hoping to have it wrapped up by Friday. Get the bed put back on. The bed's already painted, which is nice. So get the bed on it, and then I'll probably wet sand and buff it together. But I figured I'd take another video at this point, and we'll go from there, and I'll keep going. We're gonna jam it today, a little bit under the hood, in the doors. The dashboard and stuff, someone painted black way back when. It's decent, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm just gonna do the actual doors and door jam. I just taped off. I'm not gonna get crazy in there. Like I said, putting this together as a driver. We did strip all the paint. I seam sealed everything. The doors are in pretty good shape, but like the seam seal is back in place the best I could. But the bottom of the rockers I chip guarded with 3M black chip guard, primed over it so it'd cover a little bit better. But overall, I think it's gonna look pretty good when we're all done. But I want to get this done today so I can sand the truck out tomorrow and get going on the paint. I'd like to paint it Friday. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow I'd like to take time, untape it, get everything prepped. So, and I'm also going to paint the gas doors. I forgot to do when I did the bed. It's a bed with dual tanks, but this is what's left of the red paint. I ordered new paint yesterday, but that's the actual color red. It's the original color. It's like what I call the original candy apple back in the day. So we'll get to it. All right, we got the base coat on, 2 coats. We're gonna clear it. I did the gas doors. They look like they're shiny, but this is base coat. You gotta let it flash. The doors, door jams. Like I said, for what I'm doing with this truck, like I said, I'm putting it together as a driver. It looks good. I'm actually real happy with the way it's coming out, so I just figured I'd do a quick like I said, the dashboard was black. We're gonna leave it that way. I got black interior. The door panels are black that I got for it, so I think it'll look pretty good all around. So but we'll get back to it when we put the clear on. I'm gonna let this flash for probably 25 minutes. Wanted to do a quick shot of the fenders. I'm just doing this one body line, inner body, where it breaks off. This was Z-botted. So I'm going to actually tape it off again in Z-bot, or what they call, I have a product that's like a lot like it, but in New England there was most of your Ford stuff around here that was sold got Z-botted, and this did. You can tell because they drill holes and there's little black plugs that say Z-bot on them, but that's another reason I think this isn't all rotted out. But I just wanted to get the jams that are going to be hard to get once I sand it, and but like I said, we'll clear coat those. And some people may not like the way I do it, just the way I do it. It's like everybody has a different way of doing it. So a lot of people wouldn't even bother doing this, but I've always found the final sand you're going to do on the primer, you jam it, then all this stuff sands off. Biggest thing, as long as you're using the same product on the inner fenders, inner door panels and all that, when you spray the outside of it, as long as it's the same product, it won't activate different. A lot of times you'll have something curdle right up if it's a different product. Like years ago, guys used to do the door jams with like acrylic enamel because it was cheaper, but I've always used whatever product you use jamming it, you will use the same on the outside. Same with primers and stuff like that. You don't want the paint taken different to one thing than the other. But overall, I think it's going to look pretty cool when it's done. So I just wanted to give you, show you what I'm doing there and why I'm stopping. But like, I'm going to show you, like I said, this was all Z-Bot. So I think I was just going to tape it off. We got the clear coat on. I did 2 coats of the base coat color, and I did 2 coats of clear. When I paint the truck, I'll do 3 coats of clear, but on the jams, you're fine with 2 coats. You're actually fine with 2 coats anyways. I've always done 3. Another thing I wanted to show real quick is this Fast and Firm seam sealer beige 3M makes. I've had super good luck with that as far as doing the seals and sealing up everything that I worked on. I showed it earlier how I did it, but I didn't show the product. I want to try to show the products I use, but overall I'm pretty happy. The door jams come out pretty decent. I ended up doing the gas doors because I forgot to do them when I did the bed. I want to try to get that together the next few days, but like I said, I did the jams, the hood, behind the hood, and this is the original color red too. It's what I call candy apple. I can't think of, I just ordered it and I can't think of the name of what it actually called it, but this to me is what 70s candy apple was. What they call it candy apple now, I think it's different, but so we'll let this dry overnight. Tomorrow I'll untape everything and we'll get it sanded the final time and tape it back up and get it painted hopefully Friday. I got it untaped. I jammed it yesterday, untaped it today, and what I'm going to do today is the aluminum grill that's in a Ford. Everybody that's painted this, which I'm going to guess like 7 times since 1979, they've sanded into the glass a little bit. Never really taped it up good, so all the rubbers are on the window. I'm not going to get involved to the point where I'm going to pull glass out and all that stuff. Just for what I'm doing with this truck, it ain't worth it to me. But I want to show a couple little tricks I learned over the years on how to clean all that old paint from other people. I cleaned a lot of it off because it was ridiculously bad before I even taped up the prime, but now the paint job I'm putting on it will look a lot better. You got to take the time and clean the glass, clean the overspray off that everybody else is, that's snuck down in all the cracks and crevices. The rubber gasket that goes around the windshield on a Ford, I mean, it's normally like the thickness of a fingernail around, where people just, every time they paint it, they tape a little further in, so you end up with like 1/8 of an inch of built up paint on that rubber. I scraped that off before I even primed it, but I want to show you like little tricks that I learned over the years. Like this rubber here, I cleaned up this morning. These really needed to get like rejuvenated or whatever you want to call it. I was having a hard time even getting tape to stick to them. But I'm going to show you on the other side. You take a soft wire brush on a drill and wind it off, and then after, what I do is I just take lacquer thinner and it kind of softens it a little bit and gets it. I mean, that's like real clean now, so tape will stick to it a little bit nicer. But over here, you take a body filler spreader and tuck it underneath that edge, and you take a soft bristle wire brush like that on a drill, and you can just go down and it cleans that up. Another thing you can do is you take a little cheap razor blade thing like this, and you can kind of go, once you get it there, you can kind of scrape against it. But the little things like this make your paint job look a lot better, because everybody's going to assume that's you that didn't really take the time and tape it up. So like I said, you can see like the build up along this edge. That's not my primer. I taped this off. I actually I got special tape that tucks in under. But I want to take the time and clean this up today. I may paint these black again. But it's little things like that. The aluminum grill on these Fords, they get dull. So I'm going to try to like buff that up a little bit. I got a old-fashioned, it's old 3M stuff I've had for years. I had like 2 quarts of it, but it's an old compound, but that'll buff that aluminum right back up pretty decent. Again, a lot of guys would change that out for what I'm doing. I'm trying to make this a nice little driver for somebody. But we got it jammed. I got to do the final sand on it today. But I'm going to take the time and clean all the moldings up and everything I can. Same thing with the windshield wiper motors. These were built up, so I don't even know how a windshield wiper was sticking on them. So I cleaned them up. I'll make sure I tape those up nice when I do it. I mean, years ago when I was younger, I'd take the door handles out, the door locks out. Like I said, for what I want to do with this truck, I'm going to drive it while it's for sale, but I'm putting this together to sell. I originally bought it just to flip without touching it, and then like a dummy I got involved. So, but I'm finding this is everything about this is more expensive now. One of the rolls of tape I bought, I went to Napa and bought 3M tape, but one roll was $10, and then there's a special tape that's made for doing all these angles when you tape a truck up or any vehicle up. $6.99. I mean, you literally, like, the people say, oh, cheap paint job. There's no such thing as a cheap paint job anymore. Just every product you buy to paint a vehicle now, right up to the tape and paper, is just gone crazy. Back in the day, it was a tan 3M tape. You used to be able to buy that, I want to say, for $1.09 a roll. I bought, I want to say, 6-7 different type sizes of tape and a roll of paper to do this. I want to say it was like $140 just for that. I mean, I'm picking the material up today. I ended up buying 2 quarts of base coat, a gallon of clear, the activator for both, and a reducer for the paint. And I actually, some people don't, I actually reduce my clear a little bit when I'm doing an overall. But it will normally tell you what you can but I almost guarantee when I go to Napa today, I'm expecting $700 or $800 just for basically the material to paint this cab. And like I said, that's using a tech-based Napa brand. You go to House of Color or something like that, it's just insane what it costs to paint vehicles now. But we'll keep videotaping. I want to show, like I said, you take this body filler spreader and you can go right around that gasket. All I did was, like, you just take a straight edge of that razor blade and most of that will flake right off. Then what I do is I take a rag with a little bit of lacquer thinner on it. It will look like that. Make a mess of your hands if you're not careful, but that kind of softens that up and you'll get tape to stick to that and you'll have a nice straight edge instead of a ragged edge that someone else had left. Like I said, when you paint a vehicle, someone's nasty tape job from the last 5 paint jobs can make yours look like crap. All right, we're at the point now. I'm done sanding it. I just got to blow it all off, clean it. But I want to do a quick walk around. This is all sanded with 320. Some with a DA, some I use blocks again. That's a foam block. So that's just a flat pad to get the body lines. I try to get most of the stuff when you jam it that goes over. You try to get most of that off because sometimes it reacts funny when you put new paint or clear over it. But you stay with the same product, it's not normally a big issue, but I think I've got it where I'm going to be happy with it. The bottoms of the doors aren't perfect, but probably should have been white instead of red, but but considering how dented up this truck was, I'm kind of happy with it. And I drilled the holes in the roof because I have a visor. I just got to figure out what the heck I did with it. I kind of like to paint that at the same time. This was supposed to be, this was originally a red with a black insert with a black roof, which is real unusual for a 79. And I got the chrome that was on the truck in the original picture. For whatever reason, someone had that, they Mickey Moused it, they screwed it on, riveted on. Someone at one time had bonded in most of the holes for the chrome, the big pieces that go down through the body line. So when I took it off, I ground it all out, MIG welded them in, and did the body work to hide it because I do have chrome from ones I've potted out, but for what this truck, it was just so dented. I'm like, I'll just do one color. Then I got digging into it and found out the original color was red, and I haven't had a red one for a long time. I've had the bright red, but this is more the candy apple maroonish type red. So I stuck with the original color. What I'll show you is these rivets here that I left. I was gonna tape a line and put a white roof on this, but if I do drive it, my wife said, I asked her thought on it. Me and her have always had that disagreement on that. I love two-tone trucks. She doesn't. She likes them one solid color. I've always liked to insert colors. So we're probably gonna, I shouldn't say probably, I'm gonna be painting it tomorrow. So we're gonna stick with the red, but I'm still gonna put that chrome back on. And if I change my mind later, I can. But I was gonna do the white visor, white roof with that chrome. But we'll just stick with the red and go with it. But I just want to take a picture at this point, and then, like I said, I'm going to blow this off, clean the garage up real good. Tomorrow morning we'll tape it up, and hopefully I get the ambition to paint. It's way more work than I haven't done something to this extent for quite a few years. So I'm finding out I'm not as young as I used to be. Got it taped up, ready to paint. I just want to do a quick walk around. Cleaned up all the rubbish so that the tape would go to it. Like I said, you don't want someone else's messy tape job to make your paint job look like crap. So I try to clean them up real good, but I just do a quick walk around. I normally clean the garage out pretty good. I blew the walls down, all that, before I paint something in here. This is the garage we do most of our work in, but any paint work gets done in this back garage. I used to use the Velvet spray guns that were like 300, 400 bucks, just under 400 bucks basically. But I've been using these Husky guns from Home Depot. What I normally do is, I just want people to know they don't need to buy all that expensive. The HVLP guns now have got cheaper. Like this is a kit you buy. I normally buy these when they're on sale. They'll come with 2 big guns, 2 small, but they come with the all the stuff with them. I can't remember what I paid for this, but they're not big money. I want to say at Christmas I got that for like 119 bucks with 2 guns, and it comes with both size containers. So if you just doing something small, you can use the smaller ones. But I want to make sure I showed that, because a lot of people think they got to buy big expensive guns, but since everything's gone HVLP, pretty much the cheaper guns, I do find I'll use that probably for a year, and I'll toss it because it's plastic, the internals aren't. That's the thing with the DeValvis guns, you can rebuild them, but I found over the years you're better off buying the cheaper guns, toss them. I don't have a gun cleaner. Like, you can't put these plastic ones through a gun cleaner, but I clean them out with lacquer thinner. I wipe it off with a rag, blow it out. Run a little bit of lacquer thinner through them. When I'm done painting it today, I'll clean them out real good. But I'll get a few years out of that gun for the price. You're better off. It used to be I bought a new DeValvis about every 3 years, and they just got so pricey. All right, we got the first coat on, the base coat. Do a quick walk around. I'll let this sit for like 20 minutes and I'll give it another coat, but I wouldn't, it's kind of a double wet coat that I put on the first coat, and I'm going to do one more fairly heavy coat, and then I'll let it sit probably 40 minutes to an hour before I clear coat it, but it's covering pretty good. Just figured I'd do a quick walk around. I like doing it in stages that I do it in, so. We'll come back. I'm going to let this sit probably, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and I'll put one more coat of paint, let that sit for probably 45 minutes, and then we'll clear it. We just put the third coat of base color on it. I actually went to Napa and had another quart mixed up, because on the roof I had some black lines that I thought were kind of funny. I didn't know if that second coat, so I thought 2 coats was going to be enough with the red. Because I did a double wet coat, then a single coat after that, and I didn't like it, and Napa was still open, so I had to mix up another quart. Very expensive. Actually, I had to mix up 2 more quarts because I still got to do a visor. And that way, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with bumpers and all that. I may be painting a bumper the same color to match. And I think silver or gray will look better, but I just figured rather than have them keep, it's actually cheaper. The more you buy, the cheaper it is per quart. So, but once this flashes for probably 20-25 minutes, I'll clear it. And I got the clear coat. I haven't activated it yet, but pretty much I'll probably put 2.5 quarts of clear on here before it's activated. I'm not going to be shy with it because I plan on wet sanding and buffing it. And tomorrow I'll probably untape it, roll it out, put the bed on it, and then bring it back in. We'll wet sand and buff everything all together. So that's it until we get some clear on it. Quick shot of the after it's painted. Shut some of the fluorescent lights off. They actually come out real clean. I'm happy with it. So that's 3 good coats of clear, so you can wet sand and buff it. I normally wet sand them with 12 and 1500 grit. They do make a DA paper now that works pretty good. Yeah, but I think this come out pretty smooth considering. I think I'll be alright just with the 1500 grit, actually getting it cleaned up. Kind of a weird thing is, but when you paint cars you get a shine. Like a lot of people would leave this, but I think I like knocking it down a little bit, wet sand and buffing it. It gives you a thicker looking shine. But like I said, overall, the bodywork, I'm pretty happy. It looks pretty straight, actually. There's a few dings I missed, but I kind of knew. So, but overall, I'm not gonna complain. It's pretty good. It's tacking up pretty good. So, I don't do it every day. When you don't do this stuff every day, it's a dangerous game. You can run this thing to the floor, and then you're out a lot of money. It is neat. The base coat went on good. If you get a run in the clear, a lot of times you can wet sand it out. Looks like it's gonna come out decent, so I'm not too worried about it. But I just figured I'd take a shot and then we'll come in the morning, untape it, and I'm gonna roll it out and try to put the bed on. The bed's already been done for like a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been. So, all right. Thanks for watching.